All right, I think we're good whenever failure is ready to ask
Well,
whoever you
actually,
pick
we
first
would
person.
be, yeah,
Or do we do opening
we would do
statements
opening
first?
statements.
Who's going
Oh.
first? Should we go by alphabetical order?
You didn't put it in alphabetical order.
That's just placement of seating, not opening statement.
How about I suggest we make it by volunteers? And if no one volunteers, we go to the next letter in the alphabet.
You know what? I have
No one
an idea.
understood
I
that
have
word.
an idea.
Oh god, it's
I'm
going to be
inviting
random,
Waffle to
isn't it?
speak.
No, don't it? No,
I-
no.
Wait, what am I
we
speaking?
can trust him. We can trust him. You only get one job, Waffle.
What's my job?
Pick who gets to talk first.
Oh, do I have to pick left or right?
No, it doesn't matter. It could be random.
Everest. Avarius. Sorry, forgot his name's
Everest.
Avarius. Sorry, Mount Everest.
Okay, why can nobody get my name right? It's not that hard. There's an
It's
I in it.
Avarius!
All right, back to the audience.
Okay.
We'll get him next time.
You know what? We start from the left. Zoom, you're starting. Richie will finish.
Okay, I got this. My name is Zoom, and I'm a real person. I can demonstrate that by jumping. I will now ask everyone running to jump.
Yeah, that's not happening.
You didn't say Simon Says.
Those.
No comment.
That's it.
Was that your whole statement?
That's the whole statement.
All right.
It was kind of bad.
You guys can't hear it, but I'm clapping. Everyone clap.
I'm clapping with one hand.
Hell yeah.
What's your other head?
Okay.
With my hand on my thigh.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Good job,
Clap them
Zoom.
up. Wait, didn't our
Vern,
soundboard
please
with
don't
this?
talk again. Except it's your turn, so maybe you still have to.
Yeah, so I am Fern, and I have many things to talk about in this debate, in regards to how the SCDC could be using some changes, and I would like to resign from this campaign.
What?
What?
What? Yeah, that's
Alright.
my opening statement.
All right, Apple.
Do we kick him off the stage, or
No, he can.
okay? Well, I do agree with Fern that it needs some changes. Unlike Fern, I'm not dropping out. That would be weird to come to the whole debate and then drop out. Anyways, I have plans to change Spawn City because currently it obviously has a lot of issues. People are not building here very often, and there's no life to Spawn City. That's it. Avarius is next.
Everest.
Well, thank you for letting me know. So they say you should never meet your heroes. With that said, I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight. My name is Balthazar Avarius. And I want to preface everything I'm about to say with a simple statement. Many of the people who you are going to be hearing from tonight have come to this debate to tell you about what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and why they're going to do it. Not about what they're listening to, not about where they get their ideas from. And many of them will have valid, solid points. It's true. But the problem is, the ones we should be hearing from tonight, the ones who would be listening to the people, the ones who would be champions for Spawn City are not here for me to manipulate them relentlessly. Because the problem is, the starting line for this election has been moved by schedule changes and poor timing and restrictions that don't really allow the best of us to come forward and, act as patsies for the rest of the SCDC, which is exactly what I planned to do and would have done. But the thing is, if I was going to manipulate this in this election, I was going to manipulate it on even terms, that every person could come forward and lose legitimately. And that was really what I was here to do. So, like Fern, I'm here to make a statement that unless this election is pushed back to 2025 to allow all of the people who should speak for Spawn City to come forward and have their piece, I will be resigning from the election unless by the end of this debate, the election is agreed to be pushed back until 2025. Thank you very much.
Bumpy.
Applause?
Well, hi, my name is Bumpy Bob 0007. I'm a current member of the SCDC. I am arguably its founder. I was the one who gave it its name. And yeah, there's a lot that I obviously Spawn City needs changes, but I have some great ideas for projects, some great ideas for like just builds and stuff. I'm looking forward to being your councilman moving forward. And I am definitely a real person. I just can't jump or move or sit or do anything like that.
All right. We'll be
Scott,
moving on
60
to
seconds?
the dead guy.
I put a timer up.
How long do we have?
30 seconds.
Please don't talk while other people are going.
I will give him another 10. Thank you, Scott. Witchian?
Alright, is it my turn now? Alright, I think I have not much to say for my introduction. You have probably already seen most of my projects in Swan City, and my efforts to make people communicate more with each other, and to make them coordinate in group projects. My issues is I have already voiced a lot of complaints about the SCDC a year ago. Very vocally left the server over it. And I am afraid that with the current course of the election, and it appears to me that all these problems that I voiced might repeat themselves, if not actually worsen, which could halt the current progress Swan City is making. A lot of these problems I have had with the election period could easily be addressed by extending the election period to a reasonable time. However, if the election is not pushed back to 2025, by the end of the debate, I will resign effectively immediately. Thank you for your attention.
All right, failure.
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 My part's done.
Drinking water. Hey, so thank you for all your opening statements. You're quite good. We'll get to our first question, which is why are you guys running for the SCDD? I'm not sure.
SCDC.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we want to go in the same order as before?
Yeah, let's go with the same order. So I think
It's.
Doom go first, right?
I'm sorry, I just started talking, but I will continue to start talking. I am the chairman. I have done a lot of work in this city, as you can see by the 1,000 buildings that I own, including this one, which is fully furnished, built in a week by my team. And I think that as a delegator, I have done an amazing job and would like to continue.
Okay. Um. Who's next
Yeah.
again?
Yeah, Fern. Yes, it's my turn. What's the question again?
Why are you running
Oh, yeah.
for the
Why am I running?
SCD?
Okay, so I am running for the SCDC because I think that the SCDC could use a paint job or not a paint job, but a new reformation. So as a since its inception, it has not had any way of being able to influence how Spawn City can be developed, and development is in its name. It's in SCDC, and their job is supposed to encourage players to do stuff and help grow the city, but they haven't been able to do much of it because of a lack of capital and lack of.
Um,
Oh, is a minute up?
no, keep going, keep going.
Okay. Uh, and so if we have new policies that allow the SCDC to have greater influences, it could prove to be a great change in the long term for Spawn City.
Okay. Thank you. Next
Can I
is
rebuttal
Matthew.
against that?
What?
Can I rebuttal against Fern?
You can rebuttal
yet.
in the next phase.
Okay. So I agree with Fern. There are problems with the SCDC, and they need to be addressed. It's not Spawn is not getting any, or Spawn City is not getting any development happening because there's no incentive to. No one really wants to, and he's right. So all of the plans that I'll bring up later are giving incentives for people to build in Spawn City rather than anywhere else. And as for the capital problems, I have a lot of money to waste. So, yeah, that's it.
All right. Thank you, Matthew. Next is Everest.
Thank you very much. So my reason for running is very, very simple. I just feel like it. It's really what it comes down to. And I feel like my particular brand of developmental style and means of removing red tape and circumnavigating absurd laws and restrictions, regulations, is a useful skill and a valuable addition to the SCDC. And I feel like with a little corruption in the right place, it would be easy to make SCDC projects profitable, to make them effective, and to allow people in the right positions to, accept incentives and, dare I say, bribes that could potentially create wealth within Spawn City, specifically by, say, tapping phones or communicating with people directly, or shadow polls in the background, so that people who would normally feel, unsafe speaking up and talking about what they want and what they need could be brought to the surface by shady means and used to guide the development of Spawn City, not just by people talking about what they want to do, but by actively doing it through corruption. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
I believe
Pompey,
it's
you're
my turn.
next.
So there are several reasons that I'm running for SCDC. Number one, I have the most experience with the SCDC here. I know there's a lot of people think we can do better, and I definitely think we can do, but I want to keep that consistency and understanding of how the system works. I want to be your establishment candidate. And at the same time, I'm also a big infrastructure guy. Who else are you going to have build roads than the literal road guy? And I can assist with other infrastructure projects too. Fancy bridges, maybe even rail lines. stuff like that. Anyway, that's why I'm running.
Okay, thank you. Next is Newt.
60 seconds.
Do we have to do this every time?
No.
All right, let's skip to Wittian.
Thank you. So, the reason I'm running is honestly to just continue doing what I'm already doing. You might have noticed in the last few months, I've been putting in a lot of effort to help both my neighbors develop their own real estate and to help people to connect each other. However, I am afraid of the fact that if I were to do this all internally, it could all end up being very centralized, as opposed to when an actual player council were to actually help bring the people of Swan City together. That was originally the reason I was going to run. Now, mind you, I can actually do all these things without actually being a council member. But think of the organization we could all do together in Swan City if we were to actually work together on projects. Like as one city instead of as a bunch of disconnected buildings where everyone lives separately from each other with no awareness of their neighbors. I hope that was understandable enough for my reasons to run.
Okay. Alright, the Newt to back or not?
Sorry, I have to skip this question. I'll be right back.
What was the question?
Phil, you can just ask.
I
the
haven't
next
moved
question,
on.
starting with Fern.
Alright.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the second question I have for you guys is, what are your basic plan for Spawn City? This time I will work in reverse, so we start with Richard.
Oh, how convenient. In this case, I already kind of stated my plans. I want to make sure that there's a cohesive structure between buildings that encourages people to explore the city and see it as something that's actually lived in. And honestly, there's not much else that I can say outside of that. Thank you.
Okay.
So this question
Bumpy?
was, what was our big plans? What are our big plans for Spawn City?
Basic plans.
Basic plans?
Yeah.
What are your basic plan for Spawn City?
I want to encourage more development. I want to make sure all of the roads are built to consistent standards, and want to make sure that the land masses are like stable and consistent enough that people will be able to easily build on them.
Avarius for next then.
Avers? Yep.
My plan for Spawn City is to beg, borrow, steal, and cajole power away from the people who currently have it, and find ways to distribute it in novel and interesting ways amongst the people that live there. Specifically through data-driven decisions, because stealing all of your data and leveraging it is the best way to move forward, frankly. Not necessarily by using roads, but data networks and other tools, and ultimately use that to separate authority from the authority structures of the server, try and guide not just the SCDC, but commerce, building, and build standards, and push them more towards an open standard that can be monetized more effectively. That is pretty much the whole plan, lock, stock, and barrel. Steal your ideas and show them to the world.
Okay. Matthew?
All right, my plans for Spawn City, I've already kind of laid them out, but I just want more buildings in Spawn City. I want to make it easier and have more incentive for people to build here. I've already been offering people I've been offering to pay for their plots, to help gather materials for free, to help build for free, anything like that. I just want to get people to build. I've offered it in public on Discord, so anyone that asked can do it, or can ask me, and I will help whether I win or not. And yeah, I want Spawn to just be an experience of a place that you can walk through instead of just a bunch of empty buildings or empty plots. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Fun.
So until now, we've been seeing development that largely consists of large, perhaps even pretentious buildings, skyscrapers, even a rocket ship. And I'd like to see these large buildings that adds a lot to the skyline, but we could be using a lot more smaller businesses. Because right now all these developments have been taking a lot of space, and I think it would be much better if, or it would be much easier for people to enter the Spawn Cities market if we encourage them to build smaller things. And going off of what Averia said, if we can actually get the resources from people who are holding them from us, we could be using those resources to encourage for these smaller buildings and even give back to people who want to build these developments and maybe even give them more incentives to do so. That's all I have.
Okay. Is Doom back or
Yes.
no?
All right.
Okay.
You
Doom,
people
your
want
turn.
development? I'll give you development. We will invade the east and make it part of Spawn City to give you more buildable land. And I will do that for you. Only me. Only I can do it.
I'd like to offer a rebuttal to Zoom's statement.
Please.
One moment, please. I need to start the clock.
Okay.
So in a rebuttal to Zoom's statement that we invade to the east and that only he is capable of doing it, just a quick fact check on that, Zoom. You are not the only one who can invade the east, and I would like to posit the possibility that, aided by your fellow SCDC council members, were the right ones to be elected, we could in fact steal from the rich and give to the military, and we could invade the east together for the people. Never forget that the people who we serve, the people we work for, the people we fleece, can drive our ambitions to greater heights. It's not about you. It's about us. For me.
Failure, may I respond to that?
Go ahead.
I agree. And I think we should set up a base of operations. And fortunately, we can get help building it because Matthew offered to help anyone.
May I give a small rebuttal to it
Shit.
too?
Well, I kind of called out Matt, so he has the option to call for that.
No, I don't have anything to say to that. I said that I'll help build with anything, so I'm not gonna go back on that.
So yeah, Witchian, I think you know.
I have it thinking so. Why is the
Second.
East? What?
No, I'm sorry, continue.
Okay, why the East when it is already full of land claimed by many random people, when the North, especially the northwestern area, has been largely unclaimed? I know it is an ocean, but with enough manpower, we could change that area to be completely livable and be something interesting for everyone. Which is already land which is basically not used compared to the East.
Oh, it's simple. North is water, east is land.
I already said we can terraform.
Oh, I know. But there's already land.
I'm just gonna point out, there's already land in Spawn City that isn't claimed. I don't really understand the point of going and trying to get more when half of the Spawn City hasn't been claimed already, but you guys do whatever you want.
Oh, thank
He
you for
has
your
a good
endorsement.
point.
There's wealth to
He
be
has a
made
good
in
point,
this.
to be honest.
There's wealth to be made.
You realize
There's-
most
Honestly,
of those people don't own
Dude,
much of anything.
I feel like we could do both. I don't really see why this is a conflict.
What if we just make the
What?
entire server Spawn City?
Worth it. I'm already building an oil
What
rig
if we-
there, so
What if
thank
we
you.
renamed it Minetown?
That's a good idea.
I don't think I heard enough of Scott's plans.
Yeah, let's listen
Yeah,
to him.
can we hear from Scott, please?
Yes, please. Give him 60 seconds.
Okay.
Close enough.
So let's move on to the next question.
We've done 3 questions so far, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on the third question, I believe.
This would be the
So
fourth.
the third question is, what do you
Yes, what do I?
I believe you.
Yeah, can you
cut
repeat the
off there
question,
for a
please?
second.
I think he died.
Okay, the question he was going to ask was, what do you believe is the most pressing issue that Spawn City... Wait, sorry. What do you believe is the most pressing issue that the Spawn City community faces that you would like to fix?
Ooh. We can start on this.
There we go.
Zoom?
Yeah, everybody heard the
personally-
question, right?
Wait, what failure?
The question. I think we got it.
Yes.
All right, I believe the most pressing issue facing Spawn City is it's just me. I own the most buildings, and I'm kind of sad to see. Like Apple has offered, I've always offered to help people for free. I've even offered to buy people land, but no one accepts the offer, and I think that's sad.
May I have a rebuttal to that?
Sure.
Zoom, have you seen everything I have been doing with other players in Spawn City? You cannot
Yes,
possibly
I saw
say
that Fern finish your roof.
yes, and I'm working on Algebra Tower. I'm working on the sea bases. I'm working on a train station. You cannot possibly say that no one is playing here. It's true, it is few people, but it is not no one.
It's me. It's all me.
I'll also mention that I also have 3 claims in Spawn City, which is just as many as you.
Yes,
It's just me, and
Okay.
it's sad.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
okay. I think you might want to talk
Yeah.
with a specialist about that.
You are all wrong. It's just me, and it's sad.
Zoom, can
Woo!
you
Just me, myself,
can
and
you- can you count to 5, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All done.
All right, Fern's turn.
The most pressing issue is that we have too many safety claims around Spawn. They've been there for about a year or more. Let me check the map right now. I can list you how old. Actually, could I? No, I don't think I can. But they've been there for a very long time. Like for example, we're looking at the south. Let me just get the DIN map ready.
I believe you're talking about Nullshine safety claim.
MT touch. Hold on, give me. Okay. So we have 3 claims owned by Newton 2 over in the southeast. And then we have this massive claim that is directly to the east of Spawn City. And in these claims, anyone could be building these, but no one can because it's protected. It's all protected for no reason whatsoever, no development, and we could be having businesses built in that land. And I think what we could do is speak to higher authorities and see if we can make a good enough case to remove these safety claims so that players can have a chance at building outside of Spawn City if they want to. And I think that's the biggest issue that we have. Your
Are you
turn,
done?
Matthew. Yes.
Okay, first I want to have a rebuttal to that. I don't think we should go around deleting claims that are in Spawn City, or sorry, around Spawn City just because we're calling them safety claims, when there's so much land inside of the borders of Spawn City that haven't been built in. If we can fill in most of or all of that land, then sure, I'd be totally fine with deleting some of the empty claims. But Fern, according to the DID map, you also have a safety claim that's empty right at the mall.
That's not empty.
That's not.
Is it not? Is it just
No.
on the DIN map?
The
Okay.
DID map.
Trust me, it's
Never
not
mind.
empty.
Never mind that part. Then I take that part back. But either way, I don't know that there's much of a point to taking over old claims, even if they're empty, before we use the empty space that no one owns. Unless someone really needs like that giant claim that's owned by Quiet's op over there. If someone has a
Me.
giant build they want to put there, then sure. Otherwise, I just don't think it's needed to do that.
May I offer a rebuttal to that too? It's
Yep.
just a tiny thing. So, an issue I see with that is it's not a huge issue. With I agree with that. It's not a good idea to just take away claims. But there's a difference between the borderlands outside Spawn City and inside Spawn City, where within Spawn City you have a certain expectation that you have to bring a certain quality in and to finish your build in a certain time, which already tells a lot of players. Meanwhile, the borders outside of Spawn City are the land areas where casual players can build and maybe abandon their stuff. Quiet's Up, for example, has been online since 11 months. And and there's no problem with it in itself, because it is outside of Spawn City, which is exactly the worth that it's the area around it has, this casualness. I hope you understand what I mean, Matthew, yes?
So I'm gonna
Yeah.
add to this. I do think that at least some of those claims, more specifically the ugly mess to the northeast. I'm not really a big fan of Quiet's claim, but the
Northeast?
the northeast, the griefed mess by kind of Joey Dev's claim, I do think we could stand to improve that. However, this debate is about the SCDC itself, and that area is technically outside of Spawn City jurisdiction.
Spawn Town.
So
That's true.
I think I don't know. It's my thought. I think we should probably move on to the next person to talk, which is Various.
No, that's me.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I'll go while I'm here. So the biggest issue in Spawn City is the same thing that I brought up before, is that no one's building in here. I think that's the biggest issue, because if no one's building, then no one's here, and no one wants to just look at all the empty plots that are around, even if they're, newly terraformed, whatever. So just the same points that I said before, is that I'll offer to pay for plots, help build them up, anything like that. Because I think that's the biggest issue. There's not really anything else that is as concerning as that. So. Now it's Avarius' turn.
So I think the biggest issue with Spawn City is the consolidation of power into a few specific groups. We've already seen that the election was decided in its entirety behind closed doors by individuals who also had responsibility within the SCDC, to the point where even the debate questions were being handed out by members of the candidacy or from the existing SCDC itself. The problem is, if all of this power is consolidated into the hands of a few specific individuals, all buildings and all construction, and approvals for these buildings and constructions, with standards being determined by this same group. It's impossible to make any headway against it. I can't manipulate a group like that. That's the whole issue right there. If all of this is under such tight control, under such tight expectations, being shadow controlled by a few individuals who have all of that authority to themselves and can't or won't share, how can Spawn grow? Even if we offer incentives, those incentives are still empty because they come with the wrong kind of strings attached.
I guess I'm next.
Yes.
Yep.
I would say the biggest issue facing Spawn City, I would agree that lack of development is important, but I do feel like I think Spawn City needs a big project, like something to kind of get the whole city to rally behind, something to really like get people interested in developing in Spawn City, just to kind of like show off the city and show off what we can do. I have a few ideas for what projects could help out with that, but I might bring some of those up later.
I'd like to offer a rebuttal. Moderator?
I think he's dead.
All right, I'm just going to take my rebuttal then.
All right.
So I understand a big project that everybody can get behind is a grand plan, and I agree. Large projects like that are basically my bread and butter, so I absolutely see the point. But how do you stop it from just being the same people? How do you make it new people? How do you get new interest? How do you synchronize all of it? How do you plan to get more novel builders involved in Spawn City rather than just another big project by the same 3 to 5 people we always see?
I mean, I'm going to offer one rebuttal to that. I think at the end of the day, there's a limit. Like, we should absolutely, like, new players building in Spawn City is absolutely, like, a good thing. We should try to encourage that. But you can't force someone to do it. And if no one else is building, then might as well be the same people as always. I believe.
I believe it might be my turn now. Or Newt?
Newt?
60 seconds for Newt.
He's still sleeping. Probably dead. It's fine.
He's been moving around. He's restless.
He's moving around, but you
No,
aren't.
That's just his ghost. Don't worry.
No, that's just a gas inside his body.
Leave him be. He'll be fine. In which case, Witchy and you can go then.
Yeah. I have to say I actually agree with a few points Zoom and Matthew have brought up earlier. It feels kind of lonely in Spawn City. Every project is basically done by the same 3 or 4 people. Bumpy makes the big buildings. Zoom, Matthew, and I makes all the smaller buildings.
Excuse me?
Zoom, Matthew, and I make the smaller buildings, yes. And Bumpy makes the big Bumpy already himself brought up, he makes the big buildings. That's 4 players in total, which, as we are not the most active players most of the time, it can feel very lonely. And I think this is very much an issue in Spawn City, which makes the atmosphere slightly depressing.
I would like to state for the record that this big building that we're standing in is mine.
Wait, but Bumpy said it's his.
I thought it was
Wait,
What?
Bumpy?
I
Yes,
never said it. I never said it.
Wait. Bumpy, do you own a claim in Spawn City?
Yeah,
Yes, he
I do.
does.
Where?
It's
To the
north.
Okay, sorry. This part was my apologies. I misunderstood
Did you?
Bumpy earlier.
Oh, you do.
This is Zoom's building.
Hey guys, look, I'm on the floor.
I do
But
want
my
to
point
point
still
out.
kind of stands.
I
You-
want to point out that you're saying smaller buildings, except the only building that you own is a rather large one. Same with all 3 of the ones that Zoom owns are all rather large ones. Not that it's really that important how big or small a building is, and it is. If it's filling in Spawn City, it's filling in Spawn City. But
Correct.
I thought that should be clear.
Yes, this might just be my language barrier. My apologies for that.
Well, I think we're good to move on unless someone else has something to say about any of those.
I mean, at least we all agree it's kind of lonely in Spawn City.
Failure, are you still here?
Oh, he's back in the audience. I'll invite him to speak again. Are we doing another question or moving on?
This was question 3, so I believe
No,
we are
that
done
was-
with the questions.
that
That was
question-
the third one.
I thought that was the fourth one.
Yeah, we got a more question coming up.
We've done
All
3.
right.
This would be the
Oh.
4th.
Okay.
All right. So the fourth question is: do you think it is safe to have a rocket launching facility in Spawn City?
No.
What?
No, absolutely
Okay,
not.
let's go in order while we all look out the west window to that rocket ship to the right.
Am I looking at it? I can't tell.
Okay, so can someone please repeat the question? I didn't understand
It's in game chat. It is, do you think it is safe to have a rocket launching facility in Spawn City? Which there is one literally right beside this building.
As one of
I
the
see a
owners of the
goat!
large buildings in Spawn City, I just want to say that if that thing launches, we die. So
Alright.
no, it's not safe.
A great statement by the goat.
Thank you.
Oh,
There's
the
an actual goat
not-
here.
Not you.
Can I?
Please don't smite in here. You're gonna break stuff.
That's why I'm. Yeah, you're right. Anyways, I mean, speaking as someone that has no idea how a rocket ship works, I feel like that can't launch. But either way, it's probably not safe. But it's fine. It's Minecraft. We'll all respawn if it kills us anyway.
May I actually give a rebuttal about about that specific rocket?
Yeah.
It's a copied schematic. It has been slightly altered. And I know this is a lot coming from me, who has copied a tower and put it on my island, but my island is not Spawn City. Why do we have a copied schematic in Spawn City right there?
Well, I think it's because Black Shark built it.
Who approved this?
No, like I meant he built it in Survive. Never mind.
No,
Moving on.
Yeah, okay. It doesn't matter.
Avarius, do you have anything to say about this?
Yes, speaking as an individual who actually knows quite a bit about ballistics and rocketry, it is absolutely unsafe, but what's wrong with that? I mean, granted, I don't like that it's a copied schematic from something else, but, we can't all come up with their builds. I wish we could see more original builds, but at the end of the day, I think regulating the builds that are in Spawn City as tightly as we do is part of the problem. I feel like if we continue to stop people from making certain kinds of builds and don't find ways to take advantage of them when they, lapse on their responsibilities, we're never going to get interesting builds at Spawn. We're just going to get the same depressing builds we always get. So sure, build more unsafe rockets, and when you don't finish them, corruption guarantees we will swoop in behind you to make it a safer, better rocket when you don't finish your build.
May I have a rebuttal or question to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Would this also include even what would be usually regarded as bad builds? For example, to give a hyperbolic example, a dirt house. Would this also include a dirt house, Avarius?
Well, that depends on the SCDC that gets elected and the way that we fleece people out of their money. Really what it comes down to is corruption is a way to ensure that people who don't follow arcane and absurd rules get grace to a point. A dirt hut is a dirt hut, It's not interesting, but give that person time, and maybe that dirt hut can grow into something better. And if the person who built that dirt hut lapses on their responsibilities over time, corruption ensures that eventually we can follow along behind that dirt hut and dress it up into something better. Or, in the most dire of cases, use legal loopholes and shenanigans to justify taking it back and giving it to somebody else to build a better dirt hut. And then fleece them and build a better dirt hut.
You mean like exactly what happened to my sandwich shop?
Nonsense. Your sandwich shop wasn't a dirt hut. It had potential. It just needed a little love is all. And corruption.
I just have one question, Avarius. You were talking about what is the word? Restrictions in building in Spawn City. Is there any specific building restriction that you have a problem with?
Well, for instance, I feel like there have been in the past limitations to residential builds that they have to match a certain kind of style, or that there are restrictions on time that people may not necessarily be able to meet. And I feel like restrictions like these, over time, discourage people from building. So the tighter the restrictions, the less people want to build. And things like time limitations, or things like builds of a certain type, rockets or landing facilities, so long as they're properly dressed up and they're properly designed, I don't think we should have any problem with them. I think some restrictions are necessary, but if they're softly enforced by tariffs and penalties, rather than like strictly enforced by limitations or repossessions, I feel like we could make our way to a much more effective spawn city through the use of soft leverage by taking advantage of these larger builds and monetizing them to support better, smaller builds.
So, first, correct me if I'm wrong. I do not believe that there are any restrictions on buildings having to be a certain style in Spawn City. I think we lost that with Idarun 2 years ago. But also, I think the time limit is really important, because if we don't have the time limit, then there's going to be empty plots that are there for, a year or two, as we have seen before the time limit started earlier this year. Maybe the month is a bit too harsh, but I feel like if you don't have time to build, then just don't build it yet, or get someone to help you with it or something, because I feel like just having an empty plot for a year isn't as good as leaving the plot empty as an admin claim and letting someone else claim it if they're ready to build before someone else.
But herein lies the genius of corruption, because rather than taking the build away from someone or forcing them to build to a certain style, this would allow us to archive the build in the state where it was when we decided that it needed to be brought to a higher standard, and then is finished by members of the SCDC who have the resources and the building ability to bring it to at least an exterior stable state and keeps the neighborhood at a certain level of quality, while also allowing us to roll it back to that original state through the archive we took, and allow the builder to continue their build in the event that they are ever in a position to resume construction. Corruption as a skill gives us that ability, and if we word our contracts properly, the right to proceed in such a manner. And I feel like with those soft restrictions in place, a hard 1 month restriction becomes wholly unnecessary.
Can I say I am actually entirely against the idea of taking builds away from players? It's not that I'm against the idea of helping players build up their plots, but the idea that someone's authority over their own claim could be taken away at a whim doesn't sit right with me.
Oh, no. See, that's the thing. With corruption, the way you design it is such that if the player really does want to build with complete authority, then no subsidies are given from the SCDC and they retain total authority over it. However, if they sign on to a subsidy authority contract that allows us to provide them with cheaper materials and incentives, make the cost of the plot less, but continue to build up the plot as a feature by supplying them and unleashing their creativity. And if they lapse, making temporary changes that can be rolled back. We're never fully taking authority away from them. We're just borrowing it for a little while because they signed a contract that said we could have it.
So, various. Would there be a clause that would allow a person to at any point void the contract?
And lose
Like-
their build entirely?
Yes, I
don't see why that's necessary.
No, I mean voiding the contract, as in voiding the responsibility they have agreed upon when they originally received the subsidies.
Completion of the build would release them from their right or their responsibilities to the subsidy. As soon as the build is completed, we have no horse in that race. There's really no point in continuing to uphold the contract if the contract is completed. So as soon as the project is done, then the contract holder is released from the contract, their build is completed, and they no longer need to worry about the SCDC's oversight. It would be a temporary contract just to ensure that standards are upheld and softly enforced in a way that can be rolled back and can continue to grant authority to the player at all times.
So in other words, it's basically a self-fulfilling contract, because if the player will not finish it, the SCDC would finish
They'll
it.
finish it for you.
And then the contract is not needed anymore.
No, because if we finish it, instead of the player finishing it, the contract allows the player to roll any change we made back to the point before we started making changes, which the SCDC would handle in its entirety, restore the claim to the original state that it was in before the player left it to lapse, and the player resumes from the point they were at. No cost.
That's an interesting idea. But what if the player likes the new state?
Just 1 second. I think we should only add maybe one more point to this and then move on, because it is taking a while.
Yeah.
True. It's lagging, sorry.
Actually, can somebody re-promote me to the platform, because I'm about to switch devices?
Yep. I'll let you back in.
Okay.
Can I give my thoughts on this?
Sure. It's
Alright.
your turn, I think.
The rocket. It's not just a schematic. It has been altered like a fair amount, and I mean it's a space shuttle, so it's gonna look like a space shuttle. But I kind of
Okay, we ready to move on?
Oh, you know how many people just offended here.
But the thing I would like to say about that is that it was one of the first builds in Spawn City, or one of the first big ones. And I really think that we lose something by losing it. And that's not saying that and also it's totally safe. The exhaust goes out over water, and that's how that works, right?
No.
Bumpy hates civilian lives.
Bumpy hates civilian life. Interesting.
I think Bumpy kind of makes the same point that I said with the quiet stop claim, though, is that we'd just be taking away a building for the sake of taking away a building at that point, which doesn't make any sense to do.
I mean, it was not on my radar like that. Like one of the rules we recently changed in Spawn City was that all buildings, like once you have a completed furnished and landscape building, it can't be taken away under any circumstance. And I would consider that one of those buildings.
Yeah,
Agreed.
me too.
Corruption would be insufficient to stop a build of that magnificence.
Does anyone else want to add to that question? Or has anyone else not gone and wants to?
Honestly, I don't have anything to say to that rocket, so you can skip me.
Then I do believe we're done with that question.
And I believe we're moving on to the next part of the debate. And who the hell is that?
Do you want to ask one more question, or it's probably
Yeah,
good.
we have one more question left.
Okay,
We
we'll
do.
do the other question. Let's maybe not
Oh.
do rebuttals for this one because it's already taken a while.
Yeah. And so the final question for tonight, with all the discussion that we made, the final question is why should players vote for you? Let's start with Doom.
You know me, you trust me, and you love me. Well, for me.
And
Fern?
Citizens of the civilized galaxy, on this day we mark a transition. For 1,000 years, the Republic stood as the crowning achievement of civilized beings. But
Fern, it's
today,
too
there are
soon!
those who would set us against one another, and we took arms to defend our way of life against the separatists. In doing so, we never suspected that the greatest threat came from within. The Jedi, and some within our own Senate,
I
had
knew this sounded
centuries
familiar.
shadow of separatism, using one of their own as the enemy.
This man responded to the question like she would want him to. I respect it.
They had hoped to grind the Republic into ruin, but the hatred in their hearts could not be hidden forever. At last there came a day when our
Apple,
enemies showed their
you
true
start.
nature. The
I'm
Jedi hoped to unleash their destructive power against the
okay.
suddenly Fern is really silent.
He has
Anyways,
30 seconds left.
Let him finish. Don't silence other candidates. We've had enough of that already.
Without silence,
Can I
your
speak?
position.
Yeah, go ahead, finish,
Can I
Fern.
keep going,
finish?
keep going.
Okay, the Jedi hope to unleash their destructive power against the Republic by assassinating the head of government and usurping control of the clone army. But the
If this
aims
video
of the
gets copyright
would-be
striked,
pirates
I'm blaming you.
valiantly opposed by those without elitist dangerous powers. Our loyal clone troopers contained the insurrection within the Jedi Temple and the cloned uprisings on 1,000 worlds. The remaining Jedi will be hunted down and defeated. Any collaborators will suffer the same fate. These have been trying times, but we have passed the test. The attempt on my life has left me scarred and deformed, but I assure you, my resolve has never been stronger. The war is over. The Separatists have been defeated, and the Jedi Rebellion has been foiled. We stand on the threshold of a new beginning. In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the First Galactic Empire for a safe and secure society, which I assure you will last for 10,000 years.
Okay.
An empire that will continue to be ruled by this august body.
Come on, this has got to be a minute, right?
Okay,
An
man, done.
empire
didn't
ruled
realize
by the
how long it
majority,
Done.
ruled by a new constitution. By bringing the entire galaxy under one law, one language, and the enlightened guidance of one individual, the corruption that plagued the Republic in its later years will never take root.
Oh.
Regional governments
Raise
will
up that, raise
eliminate
that.
the
Okay.
Oh.
bureaucracy that allowed the
Done.
separatist
Yeah, stop there.
government to grow unchecked. A strong and growing military will
Apple, you
ensure
can
the
mute
rule of
him
law.
now.
Under the empire's whoa. Let me finish.
How much longer do you have to?
You got gone too far,
I
Fern.
have more.
This
Under
stuff
the
sound like a
empire's new
certain
order,
German
our
guy.
Too long.
Jewish beliefs will be safeguarded. We will defend our ideals by force of arms. We will give no ground to our enemies, and we will stand together against the attacks from within. Let the enemies of the empire take heed. Those who challenge imperial resolve will be crushed. We have taken on a task that
Oh my God.
that will be difficult, but the people of the empire are ready for the challenge. Because of our efforts, the galaxy has traded war for peace and anarchy for stability. Billions of beings now look forward to a secure future. The empire will grow as more planets feel the call, from the rim to the wilds of unknown space. Imperial citizens must do their part. Join our Grand Star Fleet. Become the eyes of the empire by reporting suspected insurrectionists. Travel to the corners of the galaxy to spread the principles of the new order to barbarians. Build monuments and technical wonders that will speak of our glory for generations to come. The clone troopers, I'm proudly wearing the name of Imperial Stormtroopers, have tackled the dangerous work of fighting our enemies on the front lines. Many have died in their devotion to the Empire. Imperial citizens would do well to remember their example. The new order of peace has triumphed over the shadowy secrets of shamefulness. Magicians, the direction of our course is clear. I will lead the Empire to glories beyond imagination. We have been tested, but we have emerged stronger. We moved forward as one people, the Imperial citizens of the First Galactic Empire. We will prevail. 10,000 years of peace begins today. Vote Zoom, vote me, vote Avarius. Good night.
Oh my
What
god,
was
bro.
that?
Marvelous.
So
Marvelous. Excellent work.
that's
Matthew, please.
If you still have your glorious speech?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Good.
okay. Well, we're gonna move on from that. Why people should vote for me? One, I have experience in building cities. The Appleville that I have right now is not a good example, but I had another version of Appleville that worked out very well.
How many people live there?
No
Anyways,
rebuttals.
No, dude.
I'm
continue.
also very good with MTC. I can save this SCDC so much money because, I mean, have you seen how much they're wasting money? I haven't, but that's because they don't do anything. Just vote for me. That's it.
Okay. Others?
Truthfully, I haven't come to be elected. I've come to make an announcement. Bumpy the Bob is a bald-headed Minecrafter. He poured asphalt on my sandwich. That's right. He took his asphalt pouring truck out and he poured it on my sandwich. And he said his road was this big. And I said, that's disgusting. So I'm making a call-out post on my Minetown account. Bumpy the Bob, you got a small road. It's the size of a walnut, except way smaller. And guess what? Here's what my rail system looks like. That's right, baby. Long iron, no grids, no passages. Look at that. It even has a train that takes you somewhere. He rigged the election, so guess what? I'm gonna rig Spawn City. That's right. This is what you get. The entire Minetown military. Except I'm not gonna fight a war. I'm gonna go higher. I'm blocking your roads. How do you like that, Bumpy? I blocked the roads, you idiot. You have 23 days before the blockade becomes permanent. Now get out of my sight before I block Kodapurian roads too.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
I'm proud of you, Avarius.
Oh, quite funny nice Bumpy turn. So go ahead, Bumpy.
I don't know if I can respond to that. What I will say is, if you want to blockade roads, Various, I can make a whole lot more roads. It's gonna be like Robert Moses in New York in the '60s. We're just gonna be building roads everywhere. Why no plots? Just all roads, all black stone, all glorious roads all over the place. There doesn't need to be any buildings. There just needs to be roads.
You know, I think we should just tear down every building in Spawn City. Just make roads.
Yeah,
We got the tanks
I
ready.
agree with that.
Yeah.
And their true nature comes out, ladies and gentlemen. There it is.
It's treason then.
Bumpy doesn't care about development. He only cares about road.
Road development is still development.
You can't build a city without roads.
Before this goes off topic,
Anyways.
it's new turn.
Oh yeah, Scott has something to say.
Yeah, Scott. Scott the Newt.
Very good point. I agree.
And that
BW?
concludes today's debate.
Very
We
good
have an
BW.
entire separate section.
Oh my god, we're still going?
Hello?
Witchian also hasn't gone this round, so Witchian, you can go now.
Yeah.
Ahem. I love democracy. I love the Republic. That's why you should vote for me. That's all.
Wonderful.
That's it?
Yes.
We,
Did we just witness a murder on set?
the goat is no more. There will be a new goat. I am the goat.
Well, vote for me, and I'm sure you know
I
such
would say
murders will happen
on.
anymore in city.
All right. So the next section was supposed to be you get 2 discussion points. However, we used up a lot. The last section wasn't really supposed to have a lot of rebuttals, but there were. So, do we want to just maybe do 1 discussion
We'll
point
do one.
each?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand they did a lot of quote unquote rebuttals and whatever, you guys. Nonsense, I heard. Yeah, so let's start with the rebuttals. I mean, the one open discussion question. We will start with Winton. I don't know how to pronounce.
Which is
Jesus Christ, waffle.
Yeah, Winton. Yeah, so
The
we
first-
start with
Okay, fine. First discussion point. How do you pronounce my name?
is that what?
Moving on.
Oh.
Yeah, so this.
I
That was your
believe
discussion.
I had no discussion point to be honest, but now this is a discussion point. How do you pronounce my name?
okay.
Wichayan?
Wichin.
Wichin?
Wichita?
What China?
Wichita? No.
Cheyenne?
China.
Thank you, thank you. Glorious input.
Sounds about right.
We may move on to the
Yeah.
next person.
All right, BW. Good point. Scott.
I agree.
Good point. Bumpy.
You want a fancy bridge in Spawn City? I would
No.
build a fancy bridge. Build a fancy bridge in Spawn City.
Where?
North of the mall, across
Okay.
the bay.
Let me see.
That's not in Spawn City. That's outside of Spawn City.
No, you can't even.
That's
Oh,
around
wait,
the hill
you
and down the
couldn't
bay.
too.
Yeah.
I thought, but we agreed that we
On the
weren't
tennis
talking about
courts there.
outside Spawn City.
True, true.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's not.
It is partially in Spawn City.
It-
Wait a
it isn't,
minute.
though. He's just gonna build a
Bumpy.
bridge that ends in water.
Bumpy, I have a question.
Yeah.
How are you going to deal with the blockade by Fern right there?
We'll get to that. Well,
When?
we'll deal with it when we'll deal with it.
Typical bureaucrat.
Okay, I
If
have
that's
a
all
discussion
from you,
point.
not you. If that's all from you, Bumpy, then it is Avarius' turn again.
Yeah, the very soon.
So I'd just like to point out what this entire debate opened with and has been roundaboutly discussed. The fact that the election is only 3 weeks long and that nobody has released any real campaign up to this point. The vote starts tomorrow. We're debating today, and this won't even make an upload on YouTube before the voting actually starts. Why exactly are we rushing this so fast? Why, if more than half of the candidates are willing to resign over the vote happening tomorrow, are we still going forward with it?
So, I guess if this is a serious question, I don't want to drag this out into like I don't want to drag this out for like a month, like 2 more months, which is what you're all requesting. Like it's ridiculous if we do it at 2045.
But Bumpy, we have.
Oh,
already-
wait. Are you telling me you control the length of the vote?
I set the date would be Tuesday. If you would like it to be longer, we can discuss that now.
Would be lovely actually, because I have the same concern.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people who wanted to be part of this election that couldn't be a part of it because of the timing of it. And that is why I'd like to push it back to 2025. I vote no confidence in this election as an entirety, and we should restart at a better time for everyone.
There's always going to be bad times for somebody. We wanted to
I think that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead, Apple.
I think that we have enough people that are ready to go ahead now. Obviously, life gets in the way. That sucks. I understand that. But, this is a Minecraft election. It can't take out that much time. There's no point of making the election go for 2 more weeks or 2 more months, whatever. That's just dragging it on. Spawn City is already going really slow. Everything's slow, everything's delayed. If we're just going to delay it more, then there's no real point of changing the people in charge because we're just delaying everything anyway, so what's the point?
May I give 2 rebuttal points to that?
But that's the issue. That's the issue. If we don't give enough people time to participate, why should they even bother get involved?
Is it?
Matter, what's our
Would
hurry?
it be? Would it be any?
Yeah, and I have
What's the
actually,
hurry?
I
would
actually
not-
have two rebuttal points. That one is that we have everything in Minetown has historically always been slightly slow. All processes usually take a few months. Why should this one tiny thing, be the exception, and suddenly be so rushed when the entire server has gotten used to this somewhat slow but very comfortable style of playing?
What would 2 months add to this election? Like, what would it add?
Time.
Population.
There's already 8 people in this.
And
campaign,
and
The
there's my
8
second
people
point.
in this campaign
I
are
think-
the 8
okay.
people building in Spawn City.
and they would.
So-
Yes, and 5 of them are about to drop out.
Yes, you will only have 2 people.
That's not enough to make an election. You can't vote on only 3 people. It's not an election at that point. You're just declaring people in charge.
Nothing would get added delaying this to 2025.
Sorry,
It would be
You
the
said
same
5
8
people are dropping
It
out?
would pro-
It's fine.
Yes.
Fern, Avarius, and Witchian. I only count 3.
Zoom,
CW.
would you drop out if they don't delay it?
Yes.
I have it on good authority from Blaze he would drop out too, but unfortunately he has involuntary study hall and can't be here to say it himself. So yes, 5.
Okay.
Just to understand the severity of the situation. Basically, there might not be an election at all if it is not given the proper amount of time.
And at this point, if the election does move forward, the blockade everyone was so ready to scoff off is sitting right outside to stop any candidates from reaching the SCDC building to ratify themselves as leaders without a proper vote.
We
Okay.
currently have
I'd
the
like to
entire
point out
city
2
surrounded, including
I'd like
the
to point
side
out
where you
2
would
things.
like a bridge.
First of all, there's still sidewalks. I'm not sure if you guys forgot that people can walk on sidewalks. We don't really have any cars that go on the road, so that doesn't make much of a difference to me. But also,
You're showing the build. This is builds, man. Come on, we're making builds.
okay, sure.
Yeah,
Um,
I just want to
other
say
point,
that
though-
this is not America.
The other point too is now you lost me.
This is the kind of candidate Matt would be. Lost.
Yeah, clearly.
No.
Damn, now I can't think
Okay.
about it.
Well, from that question, does Apple? Do you have any question? Yeah.
No, I mean, there's 3 candidates that I think are probably the most qualified. Can you stop placing foxes on me? There are 3 candidates here that are fairly qualified, I would say, that are all still running no matter what happens. So I think delaying it by 2 months is just not really.
How about we
There's not
put
really
it,
a point.
How about we vote about this? It's a democracy
Oh
after all.
no.
We
Actually,
could vote on it.
no. I'd like to push that 2 months back. We'll vote on that in 2 months.
Sure thing. If everything else gets pushed back 2 months too. I think we have a deal then, Bumpy. Thank you for your agreement.
Sounds good to me.
Really don't want this is a series. I really don't want to push this back another 2 months. It's not
No,
going to add anything. It's not going to.
Bumpy, please.
It's not.
We-
gonna-
No,
Well,
okay,
then I
actually gonna do
propose.
anything
Play that
that's
sound.
different.
I would
You're
like
actually gonna do
one
anything
person to give me one actual reason that we should push it back 2 months.
One thing that they would actually change.
There's also the fact that there has not been enough preparation time from the players who actually want to build here.
What is okay?
Avarius has nearly been pushed out of the election and is only here by... Why are you here, actually? Wasn't your claim like destroyed?
I agree, Waffles. That's the whole point, frankly.
His claim was not destroyed.
No, but he's technically not even eligible. That's what I mean.
No,
And
he has
that
a
issue-
claim. He's eligible.
He has multiple claims.
Yeah.
Avarius,
Mhm.
would you like to add yourself to that? Because that's actually a point you have raised one time to me.
So at this point in time, in order for me to get a Spawn City Development Council compliant build put together in a reasonable time frame would require me to pull together the assets of many of my colleagues here, many of my fellow candidates, in order to even make it happen in the first place. And there are many other candidates that would have been a part of this election who couldn't be for the exact same reason. That's my reasoning behind pushing it back 2 months, is to allow people who wanted to be here and couldn't to join into the election and be able to be a part of this electoral
People
process.
often say they will be available, but won't actually be available.
Yeah, there's also the fact that I don't know, like you said, your plot for the SCDC that would count is the one that's right beside the SCDC building right now, right?
So it was made clear that there were objections to that building, so we decided to pivot on it and build something more appropriate.
There were no objections.
I don't know about any objections.
Yeah, I was more concerned about like just the fact that you claimed over the road on the.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what was going on.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with the building itself.
Not to mention the fact that setting up a properly constructed and properly faced docking area was explicitly not sanctioned by the currently standing SCDC.
I mean, if you delay it 2 months, that's not going to change.
Well, and the rules are still the same as they are, even if we move.
Oh, wait. Are we talking about my build, or are we talking about the election? Where do you want to focus this?
If the election was delayed 2 months, the current rules would still apply to everyone, meaning you would have both of those builds within 2 months.
And not being distracted by an election, I might have the resources to do so.
Within one of them, you really should start making progress within a month. What resources would we even put forward to this election? Like,
are you asking me this question as a candidate or as a member of the SCDC?
No one is going to make campaign materials. No one. There was like 1 or 2 made last time. It's a Minecraft election.
I think that if we're pushing this back 2 months, there has to be a reason, and the reasons that I'm hearing is that you're not building right now, which is fine if you have life in the way, but as I've heard from myself, from Zoom, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from Witchian too, 3 different people have offered to help with a building. And if you're just not ready to make a building, then I guess maybe you can just.
You can't dismantle the discussion of whether or not there are more people who wanted to participate in this election based on the timeline of one person's build.
Who wants to participate?
Target. For one.
Who?
Target.
Yes, Target
wanted to be a part of this election and couldn't be. There are many others who wanted to be a part of this and couldn't be.
There are always going to be people who are busy with something.
But Target is actually a very influential person. It has been actually part of the SCDC.
What has Target done?
You only gave a week for registration.
What has Target done besides provide all of the concrete in your stadium?
We had announced 2 weeks prior to that we were going to be doing elections.
Waffles brings up my second point. If everyone is running, nobody can vote. Who is there to vote right now? There's 4 people in the audience.
Yeah, the voting process is not done over like a 1 hour period.
No.
Okay, so you're telling me you're going to get, 24 people in the middle of a busy, school season? In the middle of a bunch of work campaigns? You want to push
I can assure you that
30 in
school and holiday season? Yeah, no, around January, lots of people are going to be available to vote around then.
It's really not going to be that much of a difference.
I will be honest, Bumpy. Yeah. I can assure you that most of my clan is currently unable to play, mostly because of exam season, which is currently running high. It's the end of the year. Exam season is running high. That's why only me and 2 other of my clan members are playing. I can assure you that
it takes 2 minutes to log in and vote, right?
It's people have lives. People often don't even have energy to log into a server.
The discussion is
whoa. Saying people don't have time and don't have energy is completely different. If they can log on and choose not to for the 2 minutes to vote, That's entirely different from running a
The point
campaign.
is moot. We clearly have two deadlocked sides discussing this, and we're not making any headway on it. Either the SCDC moves forward with only 3 people, and the rest of us are forced to respond in kind, or the SCDC and the controlling parties that determine this election, who are also running in it and also administrating it, get to continue with their election and, run it the way they want to run it.
Running this vote, because there are you keep bringing up the fact that the current SCDC or the current staff, whatever, are the ones running the vote. Who else do you want to do that? Because there's not enough active players on the server to do that. Waffles has a month in and a month. TZN has a month in and a month.
Whoa, you're telling me that you don't have enough active players to find somebody to neutrally administrate an election, but you do have enough active players to vote in one that's controlled?
Winter would be no different.
It also doesn't have to be an active player to vote.
Then why are we voting on the SCDC as an institution at all?
Because it's a fun thing to do.
And I was
Given the number of people who want to change the system because it's not working, I question that.
Is it fun to run?
If you win, you can change when the election happens. But at the other thing is, we'd be doing this presumably if this with this SCDC, we were wanting to make it more like a yearly election thing, and we are not doing 3-month elections for anything ever.
I didn't say hold the election for 3 straight months. I said delay it.
The campaign season would be...
You think no one's going to campaign at all if we say not to for 2 months or something?
Listen, this is clearly not something that's up for public discussion, debate, or voting. It's clearly already decided. Therefore, I'm moving to form the Spawn City Chamber of Commerce. All in favor of forming the Spawn City Chamber of Commerce?
I am.
Aye.
I
All right, vote passes. Thank you very much. SCDC, you now have a check and balance to your power.
Not even a...
I mean, good luck getting people to care about that, because as far as I can tell, all the people in this audience kind of just want the vote to go. Or if they don't care, in Waffle's case. But, I mean, at this point, we've seen, what was the last lore season we did? The Speed Believes thing. If nothing happens, if we don't do anything for 2 months, no one's going to care anymore.
Matthew.
We are doing a thing.
This is what's happening right now. Come on, man. Take your opportunity when you see it.
Yeah, come on. This thing's kind of exciting.
Come on, man. Lean into it.
No.
Yeah. Bring your 2 wooden airplanes, please.
Come on, man. Lean into it. This is what's happening. This is the lore. You just had an insurrection dropped on your head. You're just gonna, legal it? Come on.
This is fun. If you're talking purely from a fun perspective, this is fun. We are basically going full Emperor Palpatine here, and you're saying, why should we care about Emperor?
like this?
With the switches facing the wrong directions over there?
The switches and the frog lights are not in the right position.
Yeah, there's not even any wetstone
I guess
on
they
there.
are.
Why is the... I'm sorry. Continue. Keep...
No, I think we've just formed the Spawn City Chamber of Commerce. Enjoy your election. Good luck, have fun. And we'll see you in court in January.
It's already gone.
Oh, get off this stage.
You have to teleport out. We put barriers because people are walking in.
Jesus. Is there any closing statement we want to do before we leave?
I think we've
No.
probably...
I mean, if all of you want to drop out, then go ahead.
Yeah, I think that
won't be
should
on the
be.
ballot, though.
Can someone teleport me out?
Here in parkour civilization, no one chooses to jump for
This is when you decide to talk.
It's better to be safe.